Welcome to today's Mindfulness of Sound meditation. I'm your facilitator, Jill Wardell. Today we are going to be using sound, the sounds that we hear in our space, as an opportunity to practice and cultivate mindfulness. Just like the breath, sound can be an anchor for our attention. We can allow what we hear to show up. We don't need to resist anything. And we can stay focused on the moment. The extent to which we do these things allows us to facilitate a different experience of the present moment. Staying with what is versus perhaps the fabrications that we are always making up about our experience. Those fabrications are the things that usually create a lot of unnecessary suffering for ourselves. And so tuning into what is helps us to end the suffering and to experience freedom and possibility in any moment. We're going to begin by taking some long, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And so I'd like to, as always, allow you and invite you to get into a nice, comfortable, seated upright position with your feet on the floor. Perhaps you have a hard back chair. You can put your sits bones against the back of the chair, but try not to lean into the chair too much. It can encourage sleepiness. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. Hands can be resting at the base of your belly or on your knees, palms facing down or palms facing up. I'm going to begin by taking some long, deep breaths in through the nose, expanding the belly on the inhalation, and contracting it on the exhalation. Breathing in, expanding out. Breathing out, contracting in. Allowing yourself to take several more of those long, deep breaths to come into this moment, to let go of anything that is not here. The goal of this meditation is equanimity. That is, being aware and peaceful with what is. There are sounds that are happening all the time. Some that are obvious, some are subtle, some are barely perceptible. Oftentimes we find ourselves wanting to be in a different space, wanting life to show up differently, and yet we are in the space that we are in. We may have children upstairs stomping above us. We may have dogs barking. We may constantly hear the hum of our HVAC system. These sounds are the sounds of life. I remember once when I was learning to meditate, I was with a group of people, and we were in a building that had major construction happening outside those walls. And I remember feeling very annoyed that construction was happening in that moment, that it was getting in the way of my meditation and being calm and peaceful. And I said something to the teacher about that, and he just giggled and said, "Of course, my dear." He's like, you will be annoyed until you make it part of the path. And I thought, okay, let's make these sounds part of the path. This is part of what it is to be alive, is to not have this pristine, contained environment. And so that is how we are going to approach the sounds that we hear today. But there are going to be some knee jerks. There are going to be sounds that come into our field of awareness that we are going to like, sounds that we do not like, sounds that, that we may be unaware of, typically. And then what we are going to be doing is labeling these sounds. It's very helpful to get a sense of our experience. And labeling is one way that we can do that. So as you begin in a moment, I'd like you to notice any sounds that show up into your field of awareness. First by noting what they are. So it could be the sound of my child's feet. It could be the dog's toenails as they clap across the floor. It could be the hum of my computer. It could be the sound of my chair as I move around slightly. Whatever that sound is, we are going to name it first, and then we are going to put a label on it. For sounds that we like, the label is attachment. Attachment, that means that we want it to stay. We want more of it. For sounds that we don't like, the label is going to be aversion. And that means we want to get away from this sound. We want this sound to stop. We wish this sound not to be present. And anytime our mind wanders and we find ourselves unaware, we can simply label that ignorance. Anytime our mind wanders and we find ourselves unaware, we can label that experience as ignorance. And then the fourth label is going to be for any time we notice sounds that we don't have any judgment about, that we just hear them spaciously. And that we are going to label witness. When each sound passes, you can simply bring your attention back to the breath until the next sound is heard. So let's begin. Noticing any sounds that you hear with the following labels: attachment, aversion, ignorance for when your mind drifts to something else and comes back, and witness. Noticing the barely perceptible noises that we oftentimes don't even hear. Maybe it's the noises inside our bodies. Maybe it's the noises inside this room. Maybe it's the noises inside other rooms outside this room. Maybe it's noises outside. It's the hum of the cicadas, the sound of a distant highway. Try to locate and name all of the sounds that you hear, noticing your reaction to them. Ones that you like, you want to keep. Label that attachment. Ones you don't like, want to go away. Label them aversion. If you don't have a feeling either way and you can accept the sound exactly as it is, you can label that witness. And anytime your mind drifts and you find yourself needing to call it back, maybe note the thing that encourages the drift. Maybe it's your to-do list, needing to make lunch, feeling like you need to move and do something more active, whatever it is, and just label that ignorance. Come back to this moment, to the sounds that you're hearing, without judgment or berating yourself. Attachment, aversion, ignorance, witness. 4 separate distinct labels for the reactions that we are having to the sounds that we hear. Sounds inside the body. What's happening there? Maybe it's clicks in your mouth from your jaw. Maybe it's a bit of a rumbling tummy. Sounds inside this room. Sound of the computer. Sound of your child, partner. Sound of a radio, TV. Sounds outside this room, whether in your house, building, office. Maybe it's that HVAC system. Others in other rooms. And then sounds outside. What can you hear there? I'd like you to, in these last couple moments, bring a sense of witness, mind, to observing all the sounds that you hear. Imagining that each is a member of a symphony, of an orchestra. And this is an unfolding symphony that we are hearing. Each sound coming in its perfect time, exactly as it's supposed to. And allowing yourself to be with the sounds. Not wishing any would stay, but experiencing and savoring those that are here while they're here. Not wishing any would go. Seeing each of those sounds as important part of the whole, the unfolding symphony of life. Inviting you to take a couple moments to transition back into this moment with your eyes slowly opening, and bringing that same sense of spaciousness and acceptance to your next activities of the day. Namaste.